Rick Chow found not guilty in fatal shooting of teen Cyrus Carmack-Belton after high-profile murder trial. Columbia, South Carolina. A South Carolina jury has found former convenience store owner Rick Chow not guilty of murder in the 2023 shooting death of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton, bringing an end to a closely watched criminal trial that sparked national debate over self-defense, race, gun laws, and the use of deadly force. The verdict was delivered after jurors spent more than 8 hours deliberating following nearly a week of testimony, evidence presentations, and emotional closing arguments from both prosecutors and defense attorneys. The case centered on the fatal shooting of Carmack-Belton outside Chow's former convenience store on Park Lane Road in Columbia on May 28, 2023. Prosecutors argued that Chow wrongfully pursued and shot the teenager after mistakenly believing he had stolen several bottles of water from the store. They maintained that Carmack-Belton was fleeing when he was shot and posed no immediate threat that justified deadly force. According to the prosecution, the case was about a store owner taking the law into his own hands and using excessive force against a teenager. The defense, however, painted a very different picture. Chow's attorneys argued that the former store owner acted to protect his son, Andy Chow, after the teen allegedly pointed a firearm during the pursuit. Defense lawyers maintained that Chow believed his son's life was in danger and that his actions were justified under South Carolina law governing self-defense and defense of others. The trial featured extensive surveillance footage from the store's security system. Jurors watched videos showing the moments leading up to the confrontation, including interactions inside the convenience store and the subsequent chase that ended with a fatal shooting. Prosecutors argued the footage demonstrated that Carmack-Belton had not stolen any water and that the situation escalated unnecessarily. The defense contended that the events unfolded rapidly and that Chow responded to what he believed was an immediate threat. One of the most significant points of disagreement during the trial involved the firearm carried by Carmack-Belton. Both sides acknowledged that the teenager possessed a 9mm handgun on the day of the incident. However, prosecutors argued that he never intended to use the weapon and did not threaten anyone. Defense attorneys insisted that the gun was pointed at Andy Chow during the chase, creating a life-threatening situation that justified Rick Chow's response. The testimony of Andy Chow became one of the most closely watched moments of the trial. Taking the witness stand, he told jurors that Carmack-Belton pointed a gun at him while running away from the store. Prosecutors challenged aspects of that account, noting inconsistencies between statements made immediately after the shooting and testimony presented years later during the trial. WLTX. Throughout the proceedings, the courtroom heard sharply contrasting descriptions of the events that led to the teenager's death. Prosecutors emphasized that Carmack-Belton was only 14 years old and argued that his life should not have been lost over a misunderstanding involving bottles of water. Defense attorneys repeatedly stressed that the case was not about suspected shoplifting but about a father responding to what he believed was a deadly threat against his son. When the verdict was announced, emotional reactions filled the courtroom. Supporters of Rick Chow expressed relief after years of legal uncertainty, while members of Carmack-Belton's family reacted with grief and disappointment. The verdict immediately reignited public discussions about race relations, gun ownership, self-defense laws, and the responsibilities of business owners confronting suspected theft. CBS News. Although the criminal case has now concluded, legal proceedings are far from over. The family of Cyrus Carmack-Belton previously filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Chow and other defendants. Legal experts say the civil case could continue despite the not guilty verdict because civil proceedings operate under a different burden of proof than criminal trials. The lawsuit alleges that Carmack-Belton was wrongly accused of theft, racially profiled, and pursued despite not taking any merchandise from the store. Attorneys representing the family have indicated they will continue seeking accountability through the civil court system. The case has drawn national attention since the shooting occurred in 2023, becoming one of South Carolina's most closely followed criminal prosecutions. Community leaders, activists, and legal analysts have closely monitored the proceedings because of the broader issues involved, including self-defense laws, racial tensions, and public perceptions of justice. South Carolina Public Radio. With the criminal trial now over, attention is expected to shift toward the ongoing civil litigation and the lasting impact the case has had on the Colombia community. While the jury's verdict legally clears Rick Chow of criminal responsibility, the death of Cyrus Carmack-Belton continues to resonate with many residents who see the case as part of a larger national conversation about public safety, accountability, and the value of human life.